In the heart of the desolate Forgotten Hollow, Lord Velric and Lady Morella lived in a mansion forgotten by time. Their love, eternal and unyielding, remained their only solace. Yet there was one thing they longed for more than anything: a child to call their own. Vampires, unlike mortals, could not easily bear offspring. A pregnancy could take decades, sometimes centuries. And even then, the child might never survive the birth. The chances were slim, but they never gave up hope. They performed ancient rituals, used enchanted herbs, and even consulted elders from their vampire coven. Yet year after year, nothing came. One fateful evening, as thunder rumbled through the valley and lightning cracked across the sky, a mysterious knock echoed through the mansion. When Lord Velric opened the door, he was met with an empty porch, save for a small wooden basket wrapped in blankets. Inside, there lay a baby girl with a soft, steady heartbeat, a heart that could only belong to a mortal. No scent, no aura, no sign of the one who had left her. She was alone, yet unmistakably sent by some unknown force. Velric and Morella, though puzzled, knew one thing. This child, Elira, was their daughter, destined to be raised under their care, their love, and their protection. Years passed, and Elira grew into a bright and curious child. The mansion, once cold and lifeless, seemed to come alive with her laughter. Mirella, a master of ancient arts, spent countless hours trying to cook human meals, learning how to bake, stew, and prepare food she would never taste herself. Velric, though a creature of the night, grew fond of gardening in the faint light of the moon, making sure there were fresh flowers and herbs for Elira to play with. But they kept their secret carefully hidden. They watched as Elira grew older, her questions about the world becoming more frequent, her curiosity becoming more intense. Why did they never eat at the table with her? Why were they so cold to the touch? Why did they avoid the sun? But Velric and Morella always found ways to explain things away, their vampire nature hidden under layers of well-constructed lies. From an early age, Elira was taught to respect the beauty of life and the mysteries of the world. Her parents shared with her stories from ancient texts, tales of distant lands, magical creatures, and powerful beings who lived in the shadows of the night. Though they would never speak of their true nature, they filled her life with wonder, making her believe that they were no different from any other parents. But the signs were always there. At the age of 5, Elira's first trip to the village ended in confusion when she realized that her reflection in the mirror was not visible. Morella had quickly ushered her away, offering a gentle explanation that mirrors were old-fashioned and no longer needed. Elira, ever trusting, accepted the excuse without question. As the years went on, Elira's bond with her parents deepened. They were protective, loving, and incredibly patient with her. But as much as they tried to act human, there were moments that slipped through their control, like when they would disappear into their rooms during the day, or when they would spend hours staring out the window at the moon, lost in their thoughts. And then there were the nights, when they would visit her room, pale and cold, but always with the softest smile and warm embrace. Elira, in her innocence, never questioned these moments. She simply knew that her parents loved her, and that was enough. At the age of 18, Elira received the long-awaited news that she had been accepted to Moonridge University in San Myshuno. It was a prestigious institution known for its ancient history department, specializing in folklore and magical studies. Though she was excited to leave the mansion and experience the world outside, a part of her felt sadness in leaving her parents. They'd always been there for her, but she knew it was time to find her own path. Velric and Morella, though silently heartbroken, did their best to hide their grief. They knew this day would come, but they never imagined it would hurt so much. They helped Elira settle into a small apartment near campus, and though their visits were few and far between, they always came at night, shrouded in dark coats and long scarves, as though the sun itself might burn them. The first few months at university were full of excitement for Elira. She immersed herself in her studies, meeting new friends, and discovering the wonders of the city. But something about her parents' strange behavior began to gnaw at her. They never visited during the day, always showing up when the moon was high, and their eyes, those strange, almost glowing eyes, never seemed to age. One night, as Elira studied late into the evening in the university library, she stumbled across an old, dusty section of books that seemed to be reserved for only the most obscure topics. She had always been drawn to the supernatural, so when she found the section labeled Vampiric Lore in faded gold letters, she couldn't resist exploring further. Within those pages, she uncovered ancient tales of vampires, creatures who lived in the shadows, who feasted on the blood of mortals, and who could not be seen in mirrors. She read of their immortality, their bloodlines, and the fates of those who dared to cross them. The pieces of her life, her parents' strange behavior, all began to fall into place. And then, the most shocking discovery of all, there were records of children, human children, raised by vampires. But they were always different. They were marked by the blood of the vampire, imbued with strange powers, or they were left with a deep, innate connection to the creatures who raised them. Elira's heart raced. She was no longer just a curious student. She was a daughter of vampires, a child of the night. The next night, Elira could no longer ignore the truth. She confronted her parents, her voice trembling with a mix of fear, anger, and confusion. "Why did you lie to me?" she asked, her eyes searching their faces for any hint of the truth. Velric and Morella, ever calm, sat her down. The truth, they said, had been hidden to protect her. They had raised her as their own, loved her as their own, but they had never been able to tell her the truth. Vampires, they explained, did not typically raise human children. The bond they shared with her was a rare gift, one that had been given to them by forces beyond their understanding. Elira listened, her mind racing. Was she truly human? Or was there something inside her that was more like them than she realized? The revelation was too much to take in all at once. Elira retreated to her apartment in the city, her thoughts swirling. The world she had known for 18 years was not the world she thought it was. She had questions that needed answers, answers that only the ancient texts and perhaps even her parents could provide. But one thing was clear, her life was never going to be the same. As the years passed, Elira made peace with her identity. She visited her parents less frequently, but when she did, it was always at night, always in the shadows. She had inherited something from them, something that called to her, something she couldn't ignore. And perhaps, one day, she would learn to embrace it fully. But for now, she was still a young woman, living in the world of mortals, her heart torn between the family she had known and the truth she had discovered. The story of the girl raised by vampires was just beginning.